Erev Tov, good evening, Shabbat Shalom. Let's turn in our Sidurim to page 10, to the top of page 10, as we join in the words of the Psalm, Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad, how good it is, how pleasant it is, that we are able, all of us, to be with one another, a sacred congregation together. Hine ma tov on page 10.
Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov, la 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 la. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov, la 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 la. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Let's turn back in our prayer books to pages 2 and 3 for the blessing of our Sabbath lights. We rise for that blessing. And we invite forward Amy Green Sternberg to lead us in that blessing. Pages 2 and 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlikner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlikner shel
We remain standing as we are able as we turn to page 20, and we welcome Shabbat like a bride, like a queen, with the singing of Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, remembering to greet the Sabbath bride on the last verse. Page 20.
Shalom v'zachor v'ribon echad, ishmi Adonai ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Hashem u'tiferet v'vitehi la'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala'ala' לקראת שבת נפלו ונלחם, כי מקור הברכה מראש מכרם נסופה. סופה עשי במחשבה תחילה, ולדברים שמעתי כי באורך וביורי אורי אורי שבטי כבוד אדוני עלי נגלה ולדברים שמעתי לבעלת אותי נקרא ולדברים שמעתי Holy Shalom, גם בשמחה ובצורה, טוב יגונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
On page 27. Page 27, let's read together. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Hatzi Kaddish is on the previous page.
ועמדתי ברכילותי וימית מלכותי ובחיי כל בית ישראל ובזמן נערים ימרו אמן יש וישתבח, ויתבהר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל, ויתהלל שמי וקודשה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה.
Bottom of 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change. Within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Amar Reed Arabi. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol.
All these things refer to us.
The more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives.
What may we ever come from our mighty love?
And this holiest of your works, and the living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohel Amo Yisrael.
Israel,
Bottom of 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May your earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by the prophets and instructed by sages, time and again you have redeemed oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day, and the nations will be one and at peace.
Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Bottom 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
On page 44.
Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat.
יסמכו במלכותך, יסמכו במלכותך, שומרי
Shabbat,
שומרי
Shabbat.
וקורא גודליק שבת, שומרי
Shabbat,
שומרי
Shabbat.
וקורא גודליק שבת. Apekane sheli Shabbat Shabbat, Apekane sheli Shabbat Shabbat, Kulam yispehu ve'yit'amu, mitovecha Shabbat Shabbat Shabbat. Yai bim 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 bye,
Shabbat, Shabbat.
Yai bim 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 bye,
Shabbat, Shabbat.
Yai bim 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 bye,
Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat.
יסמכו במלכותך, יסמכו במלכותך, שומרי
Shabbat,
שומרי
Shabbat.
וקורא גודליק שבת, שומרי
Shabbat,
שומרי
Shabbat.
וקורא גודליק שבת. והשביעי רצית בו שבת שבת, רצית בו להקדיש לו שבת שבת, חלקת ימים אותו קראת. זכר למעשה בראשיס, שבת שבת. Yai bim 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 bye,
Shabbat, Shabbat.
yai bim 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 bye,
Shabbat, Shabbat.
yai bim 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 bye,
Shabbat, Shabbat.
Shabbat Shabbat, Shabbat Shabbat.
Let's rise now together for the Amidah, the nice time 46. Above being behold on 48.
And I awake, and I prepare. Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Adonai, Sefataitika, Uviati, Tehilatecha. Adonai, conquer up the mist, never mountain, declare your praise. Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el ha'gadol ha'gibor ha'morah, El Elyon, Gomer chasadim tovim, Ve'konei ha'kol, Ve'zocher chasdei ha'mokrim ha'hot, U'me'ir u'lavim ne'vnehem, Le'man shemo ke'aham, Melech ozer u'mashiach ma'ayin, Baruch atah Adonai, Ma'ayin Avraham, Be'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Adonai, Mechaye HaToratam Rav Lehoshia, Mashif HaRuach, U'mori HaKashem, Mechacher Chaim B'Chesed, Mechaye HaKol Be'rachamim Rabim, Solomon Gothim Be'rofei Cholim, U'matir Asurim, U'mekayim Emunato, L'shenei Hafar, Michavot Chacham Gevurot, U'midot Berman, Melech Benit U'mechayeh, U'matziach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah v'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'beroshim b'chol yom ya'alenu v'asera. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el ha'kadosh.
On page 55. Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty physical and spiritual of humans.
Deny us the love of God, which gives us delusions and satisfaction, and in a world of war and hatred.
Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears.
Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters for the winds of truth, justice, and reality.
Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amcha Yisrael, U'tehi Ratzon, Ke'ahavat Tekamer, U'tehi Ratzon Tamid, U'tehi Ratzon Tamid, Avodat Yisrael Amecha, Baruch atah Adonai, she'otezvar lecha me'ir ha'kavod, she'otezvar lecha me'ir ha'kavod.
When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine and adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hatov Shikha Ha'el. Don't stop after beating your swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and making musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first. It seems that there is so much pain in this world, is too much for any one of us to bear. And when we think of those in our own community or in our own lives, those in our families who are struggling themselves, whether it is with mental anguish or with physical pain or spiritual emptiness, then it becomes all the more acute, it becomes all the more intense for us. And so as a community of prayer, as a community of love, we stretch ourselves out to them. We are mindful of our task before us to do what we can. But in this moment of Shabbat, in this moment of wholeness, and holiness, we think of them, we pray for them, we hope with them. If you are thinking of someone who is in need of healing and wish to share that person's name out loud, I invite you to do so as my eyes and yours.
Lorraine Cherry.
For all those we mention out loud, for all those we mention in our hearts, together we pray for healing. You can find our prayer for healing on page 253. Page 253, toward the bottom.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in our healing with the full of shame. We are in your a renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Let's rise now for Kiddush. Welcome any of the kids in the congregation up to the Gemara to join Charlie, our bar mitzvah, who will be leading us in Kiddush. Harry Ann Litwin will lead, handing out the match to whoever comes up. Harry Ann Litwin is the chair of our Social Action Committee. We know how important that work is, the work we do in our community. Appropriate, given our speaker this evening. We'll hear more from him after our tour. Hebrew of Kiddush will be on page 5. Before it doesn't.
Let us praise God for this symbol of joy and give thanks for the blessings of the past week, for life and strength, for home and love and friendship, for the discipline of our trials and temptation, for the happiness that has to come to us out of our labors. You have ennobled us, O God, by the blessings of work and in love, has sanctified us by Sabbath, rest, and worship, as ordained in the Torah. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath, to be hallowed until eternal, your God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'alafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher tirshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzaqanu. ושמרנו אותו באהבה וברצון ידידנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית. כי הוא יום תפילה במדברי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים.
Let's stretch our hands out over our children, whether they're up on the bima or closer to us than that, and say over them, may God bless you.
May God bless you
And protect you.
and protect you.
May God's light
May God's light
shine in you.
shine
Inspire you.
inspire you.
May God's countenance
May God's countenance
never be turned toward you.
never be turned toward you.
Bless you.
And bless you.
With shalom.
Shalom.
Peace.
Peace.
Amen.
Amen.
We remain standing as our kids return to their seats as we take our Torah out of the ark for our Torah service. We may be seated. We read on this first Shabbat, Simchat Torah, Parashat Bereshit. Tomorrow morning, Charlie is going to read from the first 3 days of creation, which is what we're used to hearing. We're used to hearing the days of creation. That's what we're focused on. But tonight, we're going to focus on that most radical invention of the Jewish mind. That which is the most Jewish thing in all of Torah, Shabbat. We take it for granted, especially if we grew up in the States with lulas of some variety, with some sense of Sabbath is conservative, lowercase c. But in fact, it is one of the most radical ideas in all of Torah. A day that everyone observes as a day not of leisure. It's not just a day off, but a day of rest, of rejuvenation. A day where no one's hawking you for anything. A day when nobody can make demands of you. We don't even get to ask God for anything on that day. And it's not only the rich who get it, and it's not only this class or that class, but everyone. Regardless of class, regardless of stature, everyone deserves a day where they are reminded that they themselves are holy. So we read from that part, the last day. I'm going to double check. If you want to follow along in the Plout, it's on page 22. If you want to follow along in the Torah, you're welcome to come up and follow along in the Torah. Come on up and follow the Torah. We'll all rise to make the blessing, because Shabbat belongs to all of us.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikohanim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
You may be seated unless you want to follow along in the Torah itself, in which case, come on up. Vayahulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tziva'am. And all of creation was completed, the creation of the heaven and the earth, and all within it. V'yachal Elohim b'yom hashvi'i melachto asher asah. God ceased from all of God's work on the seventh day. Yishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol malachato asher asah. God rested on that day. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i. And God blessed the seventh day. Yekadesh oto, sanctified it. Kivo Shabbat mikol malachato asher bava Elohim la'asot. For on that day, God ceased from God's labor in creating all things. We can rise as we say the blessing. We'll remain standing for Hakba and Leila, and as we return our tour together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'torenu. Baruch atah Adonai, notei haTorah. Bezot haTorah, asher sam Moshe, lifnei bnei Yisrael, li'avonai. V'gam Moshe, Bezot haTorah, asher sam Moshe, lifnei bnei Yisrael. Ani Adonai, V'gam Moshe. La 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 Page 256.
Please be seated. What were you doing when you were 18 years old? What were you doing your senior year of high school? You might have been talking with your friends about how to make a difference and change the world. You might have had some interesting conversations about that. Maybe you even volunteered for a project over there. Did you create a startup that was also a nonprofit? Did you give a TED Talk, raise a bunch of money, learn all kinds of techniques for how to build houses in a sustainable way? Did you talk and figure out how to provide housing for homeless people? I didn't do any of that when I was 18. And I thought I was a good one. Brennan Stark is a remarkable young man who grew up in this congregation, became bar mitzvah in this congregation. We know his family well. And the work he is doing is amazing and impressive, and is work that we should all be getting behind. So I asked him to speak this evening, so I'm going to ask him to come forward and share his Torah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for the introduction, Rabbi. It's going to be hard to follow up. But as I mentioned, my name is Brennan. If you don't know me, I'm a freshman at the University of Delaware. I also had my bar mitzvah here in 2011. I remember when I had my bar mitzvah, the thing that made me the most nervous was giving the sermon on Saturday afternoon. And I remember after I finished, I vowed I would never voluntarily do anything like that. So suffice it to say, I failed. It's fitting that this week's Torah portion is Bereshit, the story of creation, because what I'm really here to talk about is create. When I was in February 2016, my lifelong best friend, his name is Steve, and I were sitting in his basement on the couch, and I asked Steve a question. I said, "Hey Steve, if you arrived on Earth today, and there were no buildings, and there was nothing on Earth except for nature, what would you build and why?" Now that was a very crazy question, especially for a couple of 16-year-old guys, but Steve and I are very much crazy people, and we like answering questions like that. We actually ended up spending about 3 hours that day just brainstorming answers to this question. The goal was really just to start from nothing and to forget everything we knew about the way that we did things. And this all ended up culminating in this idealistic vision, this philosophy of natural building, which is basically just the idea of how you could use locally sourced, cost-effective materials to create super affordable, environmentally friendly buildings. So we were two 16-year-old guys, and we had this idealistic grand vision of how to build things, and we had absolutely no idea how to build anything at all. And so what we did at the time, we said, why don't we give it a shot? What do we have to lose? And we started a nonprofit. We started Y Innovations in April of 2016 with the goal of using natural building techniques to create affordable and environmentally friendly housing for those in need. Now, I said that I was here to talk about creating, and you might be thinking I'm talking about creating buildings. You would be right. We did start Y Innovations to build more sustainable buildings, but primarily we started it to help people and to help them build more sustainable lives. You see, our theory was that if you use materials that were better for the earth, you could actually build buildings that were more affordable and better for the people that were living in them. So to make a long story short, we spent about a year and a half researching all these natural building techniques. We traveled to Ohio, to Michigan, even to Denmark this past summer to learn from the experts in this industry and to see all of these crazy, amazing ways of building. And we ended up watching videos, we read books, we cold called architects and engineers and got meetings with some of them. And we ended up building 3 different test prototype structures with varying levels of success. And we learned a lot along the way. And about 6 months ago, we came back to Wilmington. We started working with some local architects and engineers and creating building plans for a 700 square foot straw bale home that we're going to be building this spring, in Wilmington through a partnership with Family Promise for a homeless family. Now, from our research, we decided on this construction technique called straw bale construction. Now, the really cool thing about straw bales is that they're super, super insulative, and when you design a wall system with them, it yields a wall system that is super energy efficient. It actually has insulation R values around R32, which is about twice of what you get in your traditional wall system in this climate. They're also super cost effective. We source them locally from a farm about 15 miles away, and they cost about $4 a bale. We use 200 in a 700 square foot building, and the entire wall system ends up costing about $1,000, including all the surfacing. So it's good for the environment, but it's good for the people living in the home too. Beyond the straw, we also use something called a natural rubble trench foundation, something they use in pole barn construction that helps us to reduce the amount of concrete that we use by about 80%. It also saves costs. We also use something called passive solar design. So it's basically a way of designing the building such that it maximizes heat gain from the sun. So again, good for the environment. You're reducing your energy costs, but you're also reducing your economic energy bills. We combine that with something called an air source heat pump. Basically, the way it functions is it uses electricity, and it'll suck the heat energy out of the air, heat energy that already exists in the air outside the home, and then it pumps it back into the home. It's a process that can actually be reversed, so you can suck energy, the heat energy from the air inside the home and pump it back out. You can turn it into a pool pump. So we do all of that, and we pair that with electric, low energy appliances and solar panels on the roof, and we've been able to design a completely net zero energy independent building, all powered by solar panels. Means that the homeowner essentially has no electric bill. And all told, the total cost of developing this home are going to be about $40,000, which allows us to finance it to a family through a federal housing association mortgage such that they have a monthly mortgage payment of $250. Now, I like talking about the construction stuff. I don't want you to get me wrong. I do fashion myself somewhat of a, guy who likes to get his hands dirty as much as my mom will tell you that's not the case. But what really gets me passionate and what I really want to talk about is what this construction stuff allows us to do for people that need more affordable housing. When we were purchasing the property where we're going to be building this first house in March, it's over on 29th and Jefferson Street. It's about 5 blocks from here. If anyone's ever in the neighborhood and is curious. But when we were purchasing it, Steve and I went door to door in the couple blocks surrounding the neighborhood. It's just, your traditional due diligence that you do, trying to understand the profile of the community and tell them about the project and make sure that there weren't any concerns. Now, fortunately, with only a couple exceptions, people were very enthusiastic about the project and they really liked what we were doing. But there was one woman who stood out. At the time, she actually lived at the property right next to the one that we ended up buying where we're going to be building this house. Her name was Tanya, and within about a minute of talking with Tanya, she invited me into her home, which of course I thought was a very kind gesture. We had been talking about issues she had been facing, and she wanted to show me around, show me firsthand. As she started showing me around, I realized there was a problem. She was showing me rotting floorboards, exposed electrical wiring, a kitchen that was completely unfinished. And she was telling me that she feared for not only her own safety, but also the safety of her 2-month-old son, who she was living with along with her boyfriend. Now, as bad as that sounds, that actually wasn't Tanya's biggest problem. See, I met Tanya on Friday, and Tanya told me she was actually facing eviction from this house on a Monday, on the next Monday. Tanya and her boyfriend were renting the property for $900 a month. Her boyfriend worked at the auto dealer who made about $2,000 a month, which means that Tanya's family was spending almost half of their income just on their rent. Now, the Department of Housing and Development advises that individuals and families should not be spending more than 30% of their income on housing, otherwise it's not sustainably affordable. When you start getting up to that 50% mark, things fall through the cracks. You can't afford your transportation or your health insurance, or if your car breaks down, maybe you're not paying your rent that month. And Tanya and her boyfriend were actually 3 months behind on their rent at this point. Now, Tanya did, unfortunately, end up having to leave the property on Jefferson Street. She's now on her own with her son, looking for friends to let her stay on their couch with her son until she can find a new place to call home. I asked Tanya how much she could afford for housing for a month, and she told me about $500 if she stretched it. I asked her if she could find anywhere for that price, and she said no. Now, unfortunately, Tanya's story, while sad, it's not at all uncommon. Carolyn Gordon, the executive director of Northern Newcastle County Family Promise, tells me it's basically the same story she hears from the 100 or so families that she works with every year. 25% of families in Wilmington live in poverty, with average monthly incomes below $2,000, so even worse off than Tanya. And yet, the average 2-bedroom apartment in the city of Wilmington costs $1,000 a month to rent. There's this huge need for housing that costs between $300 and $500 a month, and yet there's none. That's really the goal of this project is to create a housing model that works for the poorest 25% among us. This project's really about helping people to help themselves and ensuring that if people are working hard, they can access safe, affordable housing. A simple place, nothing fancy, just somewhere to call home, raise the kids. I think we all fall into the trap, myself included, of thinking that when someone's experiencing homelessness that there's something they're doing wrong. Or maybe they're just not working hard enough. I know that I've fallen victim to doing that before. I go to I visit Sunday breakfast mission fairly often, and the last time I was there a few weeks ago, Reverend Layman introduced me to a couple of gentlemen who went to my alma mater, Archmere Academy, and they were experiencing homelessness. And Archmere it's a pretty good school, and it did. I admit it. I didn't expect to see people that had graduated Archmere in this situation. It was really a wake-up call for me. But homelessness is something that people experience. It's a condition people experience for all sorts of reasons. It's not as simple. It's not as simple as just poor people or people with drug problems. So I try to avoid using the word homeless to describe people. Because when you talk to people like Tanya, you realize just how badly they want it. People, they want a place to raise their families. They want to have a stable job. They want to do well. Tanya actually right now, she's looking for someone to take care of her son, watch her son during the day so that she can go back to work. She's willing to sacrifice those precious first few months with her son because she realizes he needs a safe, decent place to grow up. So it's not about a lack of motivation. People want to work hard. They want to have hope. They want to be able to dream for a better future. We just need to meet them halfway, and we need to make sure that the housing model works for the poorest among us. If you have a paycheck, whether it's from a minimum wage job or whether it's from a bank on Wall Street, you should be able to have a place where you can call home. And we also need to show people that the community has their back, that we want them to succeed. I think that the community aspect of this project has the potential to be one of the coolest parts about it. We have a lead builder, we have 6 licensed subcontractors that are going to be doing a lot of the work on the building, but for a good portion of it, we're going to be relying on community volunteers, just like Habitat for Humanity. I think that's going to be a really good opportunity to show just how much the community really is behind this. So just to sum up briefly where we are, we're starting construction in March on Jefferson Street of this first home. I'll definitely be reaching out for volunteers then. Look forward to seeing many of you in your hard hats and construction gear. But for now, we've raised 15 of the $40,000 in cash that we need to build this home. Obviously, any financial support that anyone can provide goes a long way, but even just visiting our website, our Facebook page, liking and sharing it, that all goes a long way in spreading the word. We have a bunch of flyers outside by the unnamed table that have more information about how to get involved. One of the cute little fundraisers we're actually doing right now is called the Buy a Bale campaign. It's kind of things like buy a brick, but with straw bales. There's 200 that go into the home for $50. We're allowing people to adopt their own bales and get a personalized adoption certificate, perfect for framing at home or at work, depending on where you work. Rabbi got his. So there's more information about that out there if you're interested in that. And I'll be around at the opening, of course, and I'd love to talk to as many of you as possible. If you want to ask questions or just tell me I'm crazy, either one of those works.
finally, I want to say that it's really, really easy, especially the way that things are going in our country and in the world right now, to think that change happens independent of us. Change is something that happens to us rather than something that we do. We're an increasingly globalized world. Technological advancement is progressing faster and faster, and it's easy to feel like we are powerless. But I would argue that now more than ever, we have the ability and the responsibility to get involved on a local level and help our communities to reflect the ideals that we want reflected on the larger level. You know, when on the political campaign circuit, you hear words like hope and opportunity and fairness just thrown around. We tend to become numb to them and forget just how big of words they are. When you reflect a little bit on what those words mean for your local community, those are big, powerful words that have the potential to create a lot of impact. So I would invite you for a few minutes today to reflect on what those words, hope, opportunity, fairness, and any others. Of course, there's many others that you might think of for your community. Reflect a little on what those mean on the micro level of this community in terms of Beth Emeth and also the larger city of Wilmington, and what are the things that need to get done for you to feel like Wilmington's a community that supports the ideals that you embrace. For me, I think one of the fundamental things is that everyone has a safe place to call home. That's what this project is going for. So that's all I've got, so thank you and good Shabbos.
Thank you, Brennan. And I know that you may not have thought you were going to find yourself back on this remote, but I'm really, really, really grateful that you were able to come and share your project and what you're doing. If you're really interested, this Sunday, Brennan's going to be back as the speaker for our Brotherhood program. He's going to go into a lot more depth and he'll get a lot more specific about what's going on and how we can help. So if you're interested in that, Steve, raise your hand. Everybody say hi, Steve. Hi, Steve. Go see Steve at ONED. He'll sign you up for the Brotherhood event on Sunday morning, this coming Sunday. We'd love to have you here, talk to Brendan. It'll give you a chance also to get to ask some questions of him and to get a better sense of what this project is. Love that he's partnered, the Y Innovations is partnered with the city and with Family Promise and all the work that they're doing. And a good reminder to us of the work we could and should be doing, if only we would open our eyes and see that work. Let's turn back to our prayer books to page 282. As we rise for Emmanuel Shabbat, page 282. on page 290. Page 290. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24 and each moment then. In the faces of men and women I see God, and in my own face in glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and everyone is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are. For I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. If you are in the first 30 days of your mourning, I invite you to rise at this time. If you are in the first year of your mourning, I invite you to rise. And if on this Shabbat you observe the yard side, the anniversary of the loved one's passing, I invite you to rise at this time. And if it is your custom to rise, to remember those who only we can remember, I invite you to do so as we turn to page 294. Page 294, we join together. Yekadal, Yekadash, Shemiraha, Yalma, Yibrach, Yute, Yamrik, Malkute, Bechaye Chod, Yom Echod, Bechaye Chod, Beit Yisrael, Ba'alav, Yismar, Tarif, Yibru, Amen. Yehi Shemiraha, Barach, Le'olam, Omer, Maya, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitzbahar, Yitromam, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalach, Shnei, Yusha, Briyahu, Le'ela, Yikol, Irchatam, Shiratam, Tushbachata, Venamata, Damirat, Le'alma, Yibru, Amen. Yehi Shalom, Arah, Yushamaya, B'chayim, Aleinu, Yalkol, Yisrael, Yibru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Yibroma, Uyaseh Shalom, Aleinu, Yalkol, Yisrael, Amen. And remember on this Shabbat, Joe Strauss, Barbie Cantor, Philip Churtell, Mildred Fischel, Sylvia L. Goberman, Richard Jablow, Fanny Jacobs, Simon Krinsky, Ruben Levinson, Lonnie Levinson, Lorraine Miller, Michael Ostro, Herman Pulse, Howard Ross, Jules Rothschild, Deborah Seltzer, Morris Snyder, Samuel Steinberg, Doris Tabachnik, Maury Zubro, Molly Zubro, Nate Warshaw, Harry Zutz, whose first church has commemorated the Shabbat, and Jason Levine. And we also remember Brian Black, Jeremiah Johnson, Dustin Wright, and David Johnson, who died serving their country this week. And I would ask if you are a guest in this congregation and have anything to add, feel free to do so as my eyes scan around the room.
Jason.
Tikronam Bracha, may the members be a blessing as we sing. As we sing. Many thanks again to Brennan for speaking this evening, and I know we're looking forward to hearing him on Sunday. As also to Charlie, to you, to your whole family. Yeah. You don't have to do that in a few years, but it's something to aspire to. And I know we're all looking forward to celebrating with you and your family tomorrow morning at services at 11 o'clock. Torah study, of course, precedes that at 9:30, and then a chance for us to celebrate, to hear words from Torah. Again, Sunday, just as a quick reminder, thinking of the B'nai Mitzvah and projects, two of our B'nai Mitzvah for this year have a project. They're collecting supplies, pet supplies for faithful friends, and we're going to have a blessing of the pets on Sunday as we anticipate Parashat Noah, the story of Noah and the flood. We have a chance to bless our pets. So if you have a pet, preferably a pet that is, let us say, good around crowds. And you would like to bring your, and we'll let you decide what that means for you. Sunday, immediately after religious school, here, right out back, near where the sukkah is. So if you're coming to your Brennan, you can run home real quick, come back, and bring your dog or your cat and your goldfish or whatever it is that brings you joy so that we can celebrate with each and every one of them. And again, don't forget to bring in that donation material. Finally, I know hopefully by now everyone has gotten the letters from myself and from Kim Von Walton, our president, and from our cantor, either electronically or physically or both. I know for many of us, this is a powerful thing to read, and an intense thing to read, an emotional thing to read, and I know the Shabbat, therefore, is for many of us, including those of us in the Vienna, an emotional thing. I encourage those who want to reach out to connect with the cantor, and I'm not putting words in his mouth, but to go ahead and reach out to him directly. I think that's accurate. I know we're going to want to celebrate him in the spring, but in the meantime, for each and every one of you who feel touched by him, to connect with him, to reach out to him, the only thing we would ask is his voicemail is filling up fast. His email box is filling up fast, so if he doesn't get to you right away, it's not because he doesn't love you. It's because there's a lot of love going around. I know there will probably also be questions about what the search process is going to look like. There is a place on the website, password protected. So if you don't have a login to the password yet, now's a good time to get one set up. But if you go to our website, you will see a password protected section on our cantorial search, led by Jen Steinberg, our executive vice president of our board. There are going to be a series of listening sessions called Cantor Venture. So we encourage you to attend one or more than one of them, or to speak with her directly, or to reach out to Kim or myself as we move forward as a community with love for our cantor, Stanton, as he chooses to move forward, and out of love for ourselves as we choose to move forward as well. You know, we're going to miss you. We know that you are doing what's right for yourself. And we know that we're going to want to make sure to connect with you each and every worship opportunity this year. We'll conclude our service as we begin joining with our cantor in song, turning to page 328 as we join in Amen Dear. Let's rise. I invite you, guests, regulars, let's join each other in Hamotzi, then join each other for Oneg. And if you're a guest in the congregation, make sure to introduce yourself to one of us. We'll make sure to try to track you down as well. No escaping. But especially want somebody on the team that's somebody with a little badge. We want to get to know you better. Let's join together. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz,
We give thanks to God for friend. Our voices rise in song together, as our prayer is joyfully said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamosi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.